Vayeishev Yaakov, and Yaakov sat in the land of his fathers. The Torah now goes into the details of Yaakov's life. Rashi tells us that the Torah just finished up Esav in a rather abbreviated, quick manner. Now the Torah is going to tell us in vivid detail everything that happened to Yaakov. Why is this? Rashi explains to us, because Esav was not important, Yaakov was. Let me give you a mashal, says Rashi. Imagine a man who's looking in the sand. He lost a pearl. He takes a sieve out. He begins to sieve through the sand. He picks up various rocks. Finally, he finds the pearls. The rocks are insignificant. He throws them out. He takes the pearl and puts it in his pocket. That is a mashal to understand why the Torah goes into detail about Yaakov. Yaakov was important. Esav wasn't. This Rashi is quite difficult to understand, because the point that he's trying to illustrate with the mashal is rather simple. Esav was not significant. Yaakov is. Because Esav was not important, the Torah quickly goes through his life. Because Yaakov was important, the Torah goes into detail, spending much time on it. What is so complex there that we need a mashal? A mashal is something you need when you can't quite understand it. What point is Rashi trying to illustrate with that mashal? And I believe what Rashi is telling us is actually a fundamental concept. If you ask a chemist what is the value of a human being, well, a little bit of potassium, some magnesium, maybe 65 cents. If you ask Chazal what is the value of a human, beyond any measure, incomparable, there's no way to measure the value of a human being. Which one is correct? Well, from the physical, materialistic perspective, the chemist is right. All a human being is a few pounds of flesh, worth $1, $1.50, very little. The greatness of the human is his potential, what he could accomplish, what he could do. Using his resources, time appropriately, that is immeasurable. Which is the right perspective? Well, it really depends what a person does. What the Torah is telling us is, don't make a mistake. Don't think that Yaakov and Esav were kind of the same. Rashi says you wouldn't understand without this mashal. Imagine a man who lost a pearl. He picks up various things when he's finding the pearl. Finally, when he finds the pearl, he takes those rocks, they're valueless. He throws them out because they have no value to him. That's the difference between Esav and Yaakov. They weren't kind of like a little bit different. They were so vastly different that there's no basis for comparison. Esav was like a rock. He had the potential. He could have been great, but he didn't do anything with that. At the end of his days, he was a rock, valueless. I believe what Rashi is telling us is a tremendous concept. You see, we human beings never get it right. When I see a person, I don't know what he is, I don't know what he's accomplished, and therefore it's incumbent upon me to treat him with all the respect due to one created in the image of Hashem. But imagine for a minute that a human being came into the planet, worked for a few years, made some money, spent that money, and then left, and he accomplished nothing. What Rashi is telling us is that person is valueless, like a rock. Don't think he's okay, he's a good man, he didn't do anything too bad, so it's all right. Rashi is telling us, like a rock. The difference between a human being who accomplishes and a human being who doesn't isn't just a little bit. It's so distant, it's the distance between the sun and the earth, it's beyond comparison. What Rashi is teaching us is that you could have all of the potential. You could be someone so great, but if you don't utilize that, if you don't actualize it, you could be at the end of your life nothing, just a rock. The difference between Esav and Yaakov was not a little bit, it was so vastly different. The difference between a pearl and a rock, that is the difference between a human being who just goes through the motions, who just goes through life, and a human being who truly accomplishes, truly reaches his potential.